8 years after changing history, Christopher Columbus was sent across the Atlantic in chains. The ocean that had once carried him home as a hero now carried him as a prisoner. He had sailed west with the wrong distance, the wrong destination, and a map that misunderstood the world. Yet that mistake did not destroy him. It made him immortal. How could a man be wrong about almost everything and still change everything? Hello, my friend. Welcome back to English Mindwave. To understand how Columbus reached that humiliating voyage home, we must return to the idea that first gave him power. His proposal was not rejected because Europe believed the earth was flat. Educated scholars already knew it was round. The real question was distance. Columbus believed Asia lay much closer to Europe than it truly did. He underestimated the size of the planet and imagined Asia stretching farther towards Spain. The experts who doubted him were closer to the truth. Portugal refused his plan, and other courts showed little interest. Yet every rejection made him more certain. This was no longer only a route across the sea. It had become a test of his judgment, his pride, and the future he believed he deserved. When Ferdinand and Isabella finally supported him, Columbus was not simply receiving ships. He was receiving one chance to prove that the world matched the map inside his mind. That chance became real in August 1492, when 3 ships left Spain and turned toward the open Atlantic. At first, the coastline remained behind them like a promise of safety. Then it vanished. The Niña, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria moved west into a sea that seemed to erase every direction. Columbus studied the wind, the currents, the flight of birds, and plants drifting across the water. Each sign could mean land was close. Each empty horizon made his promise harder to defend. The ships were fragile, their supplies limited, and home grew more distant with every mile. Columbus could not allow uncertainty to appear on his face. The men were not following a proven route. They were following his confidence. If that confidence failed, fear could spread faster than any storm. Columbus could imagine islands and ports beyond the horizon, but the sailors could see only water surrounding them. Somewhere ahead, he believed, Asia was waiting. Yet with every sunrise, one question became harder to ignore. How long could belief guide them when the ocean offered no proof? The question was no longer spoken only in whispers. It followed the men across the deck, into their sleep, and through every silent glance toward the west. Some began measuring the distance behind them more carefully than the distance ahead. Home had disappeared from sight, yet fear made it feel more real than the land Columbus had promised. At night, the ships creaked beneath a dark and unfamiliar sky. The ocean moved around them like something alive, carrying them deeper into a world no one aboard could explain. A sailor could turn in every direction and find nothing that proved another shore existed. Columbus understood what was happening. The men were not simply afraid of dying. They were afraid they had trusted the wrong man. He could offer signs, calculations, and confidence, but confidence could not fill empty water with land. Every morning forced him to face the same horizon and defend a future only he claimed to see. Perhaps in his quietest moments, doubt reached him too, but he could not allow it to remain. If the crew saw uncertainty in his face, The voyage might end before the ocean did. So Columbus continued speaking, as though land was not merely possible, but close. One more day, one more night, one more horizon. As the days passed, the sailors no longer needed promises, they needed proof. Columbus faced a fear deeper than the ocean itself. If land did not appear, the voyage might end in death. But his dream would end in humiliation. Every court that had dismissed him would be proven right. Turning back meant surrender. Continuing meant risking everyone aboard. So he searched each bird, branch, and patch of floating grass for meaning, reading hope into anything the sea returned. Then the signs became harder to dismiss. Carved wood, leaves, traces of human hands. On the night of October 11, darkness covered the ships. Suddenly, a voice rose from the Pinta. Land. That single word transformed the darkness into relief. On October 12, 1492, the men finally saw a shoreline. They had not vanished into the Atlantic. They would live long enough to stand on land again. For Columbus, however, the moment carried something deeper than survival. It seemed to justify every rejection he had endured and every promise he had made. He believed he had reached islands near Asia. The people he encountered were the Taino, members of established communities with their own leaders, beliefs, trade, and history. This world was unfamiliar to Columbus, but it was not empty, and it was not waiting to be discovered. Still, he interpreted what he saw through the dream that had carried him west. The shore appeared to confirm that his calculations had worked, but it proved the opposite. The land did not prove Columbus right. It saved him from discovering how wrong he was. Asia remained far beyond the ocean, and without the Americas standing between them, his ships might never have carried enough food or water to complete the journey he imagined. His achievement was real, but it was not the achievement he had planned. Columbus became famous because the world contained something his map did not. His greatest victory was also the moment reality quietly protected him from the full cost of his mistake. Yet the shore that saved Columbus also became the place where two worlds began trying to understand one another. His men saw unfamiliar faces, customs, and landscapes. The Taino saw strangers arriving in wooden vessels from beyond the horizon. Gifts were exchanged. Gestures replaced language. Curiosity existed on both sides, but so did assumptions neither side could see. Columbus noticed generosity, possible alliances, signs of gold, and evidence he could carry back to Spain. The Taino could not know that these ships would not be the last. Neither side knew it. But one of the most consequential encounters in human history had already begun. The future was already moving toward them, even though nobody on that beach could see it. No one standing there could imagine the fleets that would follow, the colonies that would rise, the communities that would suffer, or the diseases that would cross the ocean without understanding borders. Columbus believed he had reached the edge of Asia. The Taino believed they were meeting visitors from across the sea. They thought they were witnessing an encounter between strangers. History would remember it as the opening of a door that could never be closed. But a door changes history only when someone proves it can be opened again. Columbus still had to survive the journey back to Spain. When he returned, He was no longer the stubborn dreamer who had begged rulers to trust him. He was the admiral who had crossed the Western Ocean and come home alive. News of the voyage spread quickly, and the route suddenly seemed repeatable. That mattered more than any single discovery. An accidental landing could become a legend. A reliable crossing could reshape the world. Columbus spoke of islands, people, gold, and possibilities. The court saw territory, trade, conversion, and expansion. His victory brought honor, but it also created demands no celebration could satisfy. He had spent years fighting for the chance to prove himself. Now he had to make reality fulfill the promises born from his success. Columbus had survived the ocean. Next, he would have to survive his own victory. Victory had opened the door, but it also forced Columbus to walk through it with far more than hope. When he returned across the Atlantic, the ships carried settlers, animals, tools, weapons, and plans for permanent occupation. Exploration was becoming possession. Yet the world he had described to the Spanish court did not easily become the world they expected. Gold was harder to find than promised. Supplies ran short. Rivalries deepened. Relations with indigenous communities deteriorated as pressure for labor, tribute, and control increased. Columbus had dreamed of wealth, glory, and lasting recognition. Instead, the lands he had fought to reach were becoming places of conflict, disappointment, and suffering. His courage had served him well at sea, where winds, stars, and currents offered guidance. Governing people demanded different skills: patience, compromise, trust, and political judgment. Those were harder to command. The farther Columbus moved from the ocean, the less control he seemed to have. He had reached the world he wanted, only to watch it begin slipping from his hands. As Columbus's control weakened, the complaints against him crossed the Atlantic before he did. Reports of disorder, harsh punishment, and broken promises reached the Spanish court, which sent Francisco de Bobadilla to investigate Hispaniola. In 1500, Columbus and his brothers were arrested. The man who had once returned to Spain surrounded by wonder was placed aboard a ship in chains. 8 years earlier, the ocean had carried him home as a hero. Now it carried him back in humiliation. Columbus believed the treatment was unjust, and the loss of authority wounded him deeply. He was later released and would sail west again, but he never regained his former position as governor. The chains did not erase his courage or his voyage. They revealed something more painful. Reaching an unknown world required vision. Controlling what followed demanded powers Columbus never truly possessed. But even after Columbus lost his titles and authority, the route he opened remained beyond anyone's control. More ships followed, carrying settlers, soldiers, missionaries, traders, animals, crops, languages, beliefs, and diseases between worlds that had developed apart for centuries. Some exchanges transformed diets, farming, and trade across continents. Others brought conquest, forced labor, displacement, and devastating population loss to indigenous communities. Columbus did not personally command everything that followed, nor could he have imagined its full scale. He was neither a flawless hero standing above history, nor a single villain responsible for every consequence. He was a courageous, ambitious, Stubborn man shaped by faith, limited knowledge, and a powerful need to prove himself. Those qualities carried him across an ocean others feared to cross. They also helped release forces far larger than his intentions. Columbus spent much of his life believing he had reached Asia. History remembers him for finding something else entirely. He crossed an ocean with the wrong distance, reached a world he did not fully understand, returned as a hero, and later came home in chains, yet the route remained. More ships followed, empires expanded. Crops, animals, beliefs, people, and diseases moved between worlds that had developed apart for centuries. Columbus lost his authority. He lost control of the colonies he had helped create, and he never controlled what history would make of his name. 5 centuries later, the argument still continues. Was he a visionary who dared to cross an unknown ocean? A conqueror whose ambition brought suffering? Or simply a deeply flawed man whose mistake changed the world? What do you think? Please share your opinion in the comments so everyone can learn from different perspectives. And subscribe to English Mindwave to support the channel and help us continue creating meaningful historical stories.